Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Deep Rock Galactic. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zarel. Let's get to it. Alright, so today we're doing the deep dive, codenamed Old Hell. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. Alright, so let's get into it. Stage 1 of the deep dive has you doing 2 objectives, collecting alien eggs and repairing 2 mini mules with a modifier of critical weakness. So if you want your ammo to last as long as possible, you're going to want to hit the bugs in their weak point. So if someone is able to knock off the armor, then you're going to have a larger hitbox for those weak points. And you can, of course, extend out that nitra, make it last a little bit longer. Now, finding the eggs is going to be relatively easy. Getting to them might be a little bit more difficult. They are on the terrain map, so that makes it easy. The mini mules, excuse me, the mini mules are not on the mini map. However, the legs are once you scan them. So once you find the mini mules, you just have to scan it, and then you can see where those legs are at, and they do kind of pulse when you're looking at them. Sometimes they're at an angle where it's difficult to see it, or around a corner, so it may not be obvious unless you look at the terrain map to kind of get an idea of where they're at. Now, this is not a full salvage mission, so you don't have to repair the drop pod that someone left behind. You just have to repair the mini mules, and that part is relatively straightforward. As long as you can find the mini mules, it should go relatively quickly. Alien eggs, there's no problem finding it. You just look on the terrain map. However, getting to them might be an issue depending on where they are. So hopefully you've got a good complement of jobs, engineer, scout, gunner, and driller will make these stages go by very quickly if you have one of each. If you don't, you can still do them. It might just take a little bit more time, depending on what your setup is. And of course, knowing that the deep dive is a 3-stage raid-like environment where you can go through with a pre-made team of 4, or you can go with a bunch of randoms. It is your choice. So you can matchmake, or you can go pre-made, you can go by yourself, you can go with you and one other person. It doesn't matter. It's just, if you have 4 people, that's an extra set of eyes. More sets of eyes, more sets of hands to get through and do these deep dive objectives. And don't forget that everything that you have carries over from one stage to the next, including your health, your ammo, your nitra, your gold, and what you're carrying on you. So if you don't have time to deposit things on the side of the drop pod or in the mule, you can always do so in the next stage, because all that will carry over. But that also makes sense for resupplies, or resupplying when you need to, not necessarily knowing what is going to be coming at you in the next section of the deep dive. Alright, so once you get those mini mules repaired and the eggs, go ahead and call in the drop pod and get out. Second stage of the deep dive is liquid morkite refining and 2 alien eggs. So once again, the alien eggs are on the map. You just have to get to them. And then of course, for refining, they will bring in a refinery, and you just look for those blue flames on the map, which will help you figure out where those liquid morkite wells should be placed. I have seen maps where it is very difficult to find usually one of them. It's either really quite a bit higher or lower. These are more or less all together. Now additionally, this has the modifier of lethal enemies. That means that melee attacks from the bugs are going to do extra damage. So be aware, one of the biggest tips I can have for you on this stage is to keep moving, which may be a little bit difficult because there seems to be fire everywhere. Now one other thing to note is that you cannot start pumping liquid Morkite until you both have everything hooked up and built and all of the eggs deposited. So you have to deposit the eggs and you have to have everything hooked up and built between the pump jacks and the refinery. But once you have it there, you can get it started up and get it pumped to the refinery, and then of course make your way out once you get all that done. Once again, once you start pumping, it is very important that you are moving and continue to move as often as possible, except obviously when you're repairing one of the pipelines. Once you're done, call on the extraction, get to the drop pod, and get out. Now hopefully you'll have enough for 2 or 3 or even 4 resupply pods going into the 3rd stage. You know, this one, of course, you don't have to hold back because it is the last stage. So, as such, you can call in all the resupplies that you need. Just make sure that you do it in the location that makes sense. And for this one, you have collecting 7 Aquarks and 1 Dreadnought with a modifier of exploder infestation, which means there are going to be exploders that are going to be coming at you at regular intervals and in numbers. So it may be a good idea to take out the Dreadnought early in the stage, as the frequency and number of waves will increase the longer you are in the level. Now, of all of the stages of the deep dive, I have to say that this one would be the most difficult doing solo. So getting the Aquarks is relatively straightforward. Getting to the Aquarks could be the issue, and is usually the issue. Usually it's in a little bit more difficult areas where it is a little bit harder to get to, and of course that makes it a little bit harder. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.
Team. Drop pod departing in T-minus 3 minutes.
Now this is how to commute.
Rock and stone,
Like
everyone!
this. Rock and stone!
On something!
Sticky grenade!
1 sentry gun, ready to be built.
Skull crusher!
Sentry off.
Rock and stone in the heart!
Doors don't rise!
Got no flares ready!
Watch where you're shooting, moron!
Good work. We're pulling you back in.
Yeah!
Stone! Reloading!